shit. That's what I'm talking about.
Wait! Okay, now, from the beginning.
Hit it, boys.
Hey everybody, welcome into the Arena, a multi-platform gaming news podcast. This is episode 112. I'm your host Xpad, along with my co-hosts Burley of Burleman Gaming and Turn-Based Carl. So Burley, how you doing? Survived the first day of Pokemon? Yeah, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Yeah,
yeah. I didn't get as much playtime because I got called into work on my vacation. Emergency that didn't turn out to really be an emergency.
I see.
Oh, fun.
And Carl, Persona 5 Royale treating you well?
Yeah, it sure is. Wait, Burley, who's your starter? What'd you end up with?
I started with Spaghetto, the grass little kitty. My chat made me pick. I leave that up to my audience to pick. Yeah, it's the first time in a long time I've had to use a grass starter, so this will be interesting.
Yeah, look, I'm like. You got to look at the final form. I don't know. You're not going to be happy, I assume.
I have not seen any of them. I haven't seen the middle evolutions or final forms of any of them. This is the first time in a long time I've had this happen with a Pokemon game, which is nice.
It did. I don't think it leaked, right? I saw it because the game's out now, so they're just putting it out there. And
the game leaked a couple days ago because some stores went early, and I'm sure Nintendo is going to be going after them.
You know, I was telling you guys that I was thinking of going into my local electronics store and taking some shots of people in line to buy, the Pokemon games for their kids. You know, it's kind of like the annual lineup, on the day right after, because it's usually Friday. And then, of course, Saturday, all the parents take the kids to go buy the game. But in my local Yodobashi, it's weird. There are 3 different floors, floor 6, floor 7, floor 8 for the electronics store. And usually the games were on the 7th floor. But from yesterday, they started moving everything to the 6th floor. So it's like none of the people know exactly where the game section is now. I mean, maybe they did that on purpose because they didn't want anybody to buy Pokemon today or something. I don't know, man. It's crazy. But yeah, now it's combined with the TV section. Now you have the game section and the esports section kind of combined together. So whereas on the 7th floor now, they used to have the game section with the regular toys. And now the 7th floor is just the toys and then other electronic goods outside of that. But yeah, I was surprised. So it's not very good planning on their parts, I think, when it came to getting Pokemon sales today. Yeah,
we got our first snow here, and it's a doozy.
Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah, I heard the Bills game was moved to Detroit. That's what I heard.
Yeah, because it hit this area. Like Orchard Park is next town over, right where the stadium is. That's 10 minutes away. If I want to go there, and I mean it's. We have over 3 feet here. I'm basically snowed in. I can't. I don't know if they came yet. I don't know if they came yet to clear out the snow by the door. But
wow,
it's a lot.
Oh, you're in an apartment. They ain't doing that.
Well, here they do. In Buffalo, they're usually good on it. Although there's a travel ban in this area, right? That's going on. So I have a feeling maybe that's why they haven't come out because there are people getting trapped in their cars. The people having to abandon their cars on the roads because they get stuck and there's nothing they can do anymore.
Wow.
And 2 people have died already, so it's it's tragic. That happens.
Do they have, Carl, out on the freeways there? Do they have chain services? I know in California, when my family and I used to drive up to the Sierra Mountains, once you got to a certain level where the snow started falling, they would have chain services on the road where 3 or 4 state workers, they would help put chains on your tires.
I've never heard of that.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm
you
not
just
gonna
pay
go
like
out.
a certain amount, and they put
Yeah.
the chains on your tires. Yeah.
Yeah. I did what I was supposed to do, and I got some supplies from the store before storm came, and I'm just staying home. I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah. Well, a perfect excuse to play video games. And that's what we're
Indeed.
talking about here on the podcast.
Indeed.
Yes. We're going to be talking about, of course, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. We're going to be talking about the Game Award nominees in this episode, our topic of the show. We're going to be talking about the Game of the Year nominees. And, of course, Elden Ring and God of War Ragnarok are among two of them. We're going to talk about those. But before we get to our weekly discussion and the weekly news beat, here's a brief word about where you can find the podcast.
Before the crew discuss what they have been playing, this episode of The Arena, a multi-platform gaming news podcast, in audio and video formats, will be going to Patreon in early access for one day after being recorded. So if you would like to support the show and become a patron at the entry tier 1 level at $1 per month and get early access to every episode in audio and video formats, exclusive post-show content in video format when recorded, as well as watch or listen ad-free, please visit patreon.com/thearena_podcast for further details. Weekly on Sundays, the podcast will be uploaded to all free podcast services, where you can find us on any podcast app for iOS or Android, and in video format on our YouTube channel, The Arena Productions. For the audio version, just download your favorite podcast app and search for The Arena, a multi-platform gaming news podcast. Subscribe, follow us, post a review, and leave us questions, comments, and feedback if you like, if that feature is available there, and spread the word about the podcast. We also have a Discord called The Arena Podcast, where you can join and chat with the Arena Podcast community, and the podcast audio website is at thearenapodcast.podbean.com, where you can follow us and leave questions and comments as well. For all information regarding the podcast and our entertainment and pop culture related content, along with our blog and forums, visit the official website of The Arena Productions at www.thearenaproductions.com. Finally, you can also follow us on Twitter at The Arena AMPGNP, as well as on Instagram at The Arena_podcast. Now, back to the show.
Okay, guys, let's talk about what we've been playing this week. Yeah, I know, Burley, you started Pokemon, right? Carl, I know you're still continuing on with Persona 5 Royale. I'm still playing God of War Ragnarok. I put about 3 hours in today. And yeah, I mean, it's funny. It's like Atreus speaks a lot more in the realm that I'm in now. Basically, I'm in this realm of the dwarves, and you're on like a little kayak, and you're going down this river, and then there's lots of puzzles to open up the gates, to get through from one area to another and everything. But Atreus is doing most of the talking, and so Kratos, I mean, I love Kratos, but just his personality, man, I just have never been able to, come to grips with his, type of personality, and Atreus, he's very, attentive when it comes to the world around him. He's very curious about the world around him, whereas Kratos is just like he's being told by the severed head that he's carrying, basically, you should listen to your son more. You should try to actually try to understand him more. And that's what I like about the story so far. He's trying, but you know how Kratos is, as the, this godfather figure, but yeah, I'm enjoying it. Now the Atreus has gotten some more, with his bow, he's gotten some more, techniques to use. And the fighting abilities are increasing, and of course upgrading materials, upgrading weapons, upgrading the armor. So yeah, it's been fun. I'm really enjoying it. So the land of the dwarves is really cool. So yeah, it's interesting. So and don't ask me how to pronounce the names of these realms. They're very, very difficult to pronounce. So, yeah, yeah, I'm about maybe 7 or 8 hours in now, so it's been really fun. So, Carl, Persona 5 Royale, you said I think I heard you on Twitter saying you're about 50 hours in now.
Yeah, I have crossed the 50-hour mark. I don't know, like, progress-wise how far I am, because I'm not like trying to look for spoilers or anything.
So you've done the first palace. That's
I'm at the fourth palace. And
okay.
I don't know if that's where I should be at 50 hours, or if maybe it just depends on how much time I spent in between, because you can delay doing that stuff.
Well, it's also, yeah, it's like all the social stuff you can do and all the different the side activities, and getting the relationship values up with your fellow party members. You can really eat a lot of time in that.
Yeah, and I guess you have to spend that time, because if you finish the palace early, then you're just waiting for the event to happen.
Oh, I hate that.
Yeah.
I hate that.
Yeah, so I have to say, like, Palace 3, the story around that, like, was not that interesting. It wasn't bad. I was just like, I'm like, whatever. It wasn't personal in any way. And then you get back to the fourth palace, and I'm like, all right, we're back to like something interesting, like personal with a character. So yeah, I mean, I think that was a little dip in like the story there, but it's back to being, where I expected from what we've gotten early on. And I did play something else. I made it my business to dive into something else that came out recently, and that's Pentiment.
Okay, and we're going to be talking about that shortly. But how are you enjoying it? So
yeah, honestly, I really do like it. I was compelled to, like, how I said I jumped into Monkey Island, right? And I just like, well, I just want to go back to Persona. After my first session last night with Pentiment, I was like, no, I feel like I could play through this entire game and then go back to Persona, because I know this game's not that long.
Yeah.
Yeah, what I like about it is that, like, it feels like an RPG in the truest of sense. Like, I am playing the role of this person, right? And this person he's a defined character, Andreas, but he's an artist, but he also has other background choices that you can make about, like, the things that he studied in school and where he studied. And I think there's maybe one other choice. I forgot what it was. And those choices, like, give you different options in dialogue choices. And all of your choices seem to, because I haven't gotten to too much, but they seem to impact the things you can actually do in the game. Like some of the choices or conversations you can have, or like the way you can influence someone. It's like the one example that I got to was, like, I'm not trying to, it's not really a spoiler, but I'm not going to like try to spoil anything. And nothing I've really gotten to is really spoilers yet anyway, I'd say, in the story. But it's just about, like, there's this in the church, there's like a nun who's like is in charge of the books. And there's some book that she asked for, and they're supposed to burn it because it's like a book they're not supposed to keep, right? But you can argue with her to keep it yourself. And because of the choices I made and in the dialogue tree, and because of my background choices, I was able to convince her to let me keep it. And a little thing popped up that showed me, like, why, kind of like the choices I made, like how influential they were, which was positive and negative.
Cool.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, that is interesting. And it wasn't like it was obvious to me that this was something I could even do. So that's what I really liked about it. I was like, I was just kind of playing the role of, like, the character I chose and the things I chose him to like. Like, I made him like he likes books a lot, That was one of the choices. So I was like, yeah, my character would want to, like, save this book, So I tried and I did, and I was like, oh, I don't know why that's important, but it's just the way the game sort of makes you feel with the choices. Like, I feel like I am really interacting in this, like, sort of interesting, I don't know, like, show, almost like a well done TV show,
Interesting.
So yeah, it's there's not, like, it is just, walking around the town and talking to people and having dialogue choices. There isn't much else to the gameplay I've seen yet.
Okay.
But how those choices impact what you can do seem to be happening in the background and not making it obvious, which I think is cool. So you don't really know. Like, I feel like things could have happened differently already, but I'm not really sure because it just feels like organic and natural.
Interesting.
So yeah, I'm enjoying it. I want to get to sort of the meat of the story, which I don't think I've gotten to yet. So we'll see.
Cool. Burley, how about you? So for the games you've been playing. Yeah.
Well, I finished up Sonic Frontiers, and we actually have the review.
Yes.
We recorded, and that's up on YouTube
Yes,
and on Patreon. So please, everyone, check that out.
Yeah, episode 21 of the Arena Extra Take. Yes. So Sonic Frontiers gameplay breakdown. You can check that out. Yep.
I will give you one quick spoiler. It is a better game than Gotham Knights.
It's hard to believe, but okay.
Yeah.
It is.
In Burley's mind, it is. Yes.
Yeah.
So for all of you listeners and viewers, we'll leave that for you to decide. But anyway,
yes. But before you buy the game, do watch the review because I do give you some recommendations and stuff. So just figured let people know on that. I keep going with Xenoblade Chronicles 3. I'm now on chapter 6, and the story has really ramped up.
Okay.
And the writing has improved a lot. So it's got me hooked. It's like, dang it. I'm into one giant RPG, another RPG just came out. I'm into it's like both on the same platform. And then we've got Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. I didn't get as much time as I'd like with it, but I am having fun. There are problems, and
we'll be talking about those.
I was gonna say we're gonna be talking about those later, so I'll address it there.
Right.
Oh, really quick, Pentiment, the writing in the game, or the why am I losing the word here? Like the text, all the different
the dialogue.
Scripture like written for the characters. It's interesting because depending on the character speaking, it's a different font. That's the word I was looking for. Font, right?
The font,
and it's written differently, and it's written as they're speaking. Like it comes in like basic, and then it's written out. And interesting stuff happens that's sort of like telling you something about the character. Like sometimes, like one time it was like typed and weird, like backwards. I was like, what the hell does that mean? And then it like flipped and like changed. And I was like, I don't know if it was like supposed to be like a translation, like the guy was speaking a different language maybe, but like my character knew it. Or so some of the people, like the people who are like not as educated, have like a less have a much more sloppy handwriting to their fonts.
Well, when I looked at the fonts, it seemed like some of the fonts were in the Latin text.
I'm sure
it could have been, So
I'm sure some of them are very fancy and difficult to read, and I understand why there's an easy font option. So no, I was gonna say last thing that was kind of interesting that I didn't realize, like there'll be mistakes in the writing. So like it'd be typos, like some things spelled wrong, and that seems to happen mostly with the less educated people, and it'll correct itself. It'll like
interesting.
It'll clear the thing and fix the typo as
nice.
It's. I'm like, it's fun little things going on with all.
That's neat.
Yeah, I like that. And for some reason, whenever they say God or Christ, like they might say like God bless you or something, it won't write God right away. It'll write the whole thing out and then it'll write it after, and it's written in red. And I'm assuming there's a reason for that. I'm just not aware of like why.
Well, because like in the biblical sense, I mean, Christ's words are written in red. Like if in Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, for example, you'll all in the Bible, if you scroll through the pages and you go to Christ's quotes, they're all in red. So
okay. So there you go. So they're just trying to be like accurate with the way it's written, and it happens after, I assume, because it's like you would write with one pen and then you'd have to take out a different one, write in a different color. So that's probably why it's done that way. Okay, cool.
Interesting. I like that. Well, let's get to our discussion for the week. So, of course, Carl was talking about Pentiment, and the developers and the publishers of Pentiment were talking about how this game would not have happened if it were not for Game Pass. And of course, this is from an article I found from kitguru.net. So, you know, Josh Sawyer, Obsidian Entertainment, he recently sat down with a radio station and discussed the team's latest game. And he's talking about how it wouldn't have been possible to publish without Game Pass. And he talks about, for example, quote, the old mentality of publishers, this is from Josh Sawyer, the old mentality of publishers and developers is generally focused on larger investments with higher ROI, which stands for return on investment. And that's not the point in this environment, in this ecosystem. The Game Pass is the only way in which I conceive of Pentiment being viable. And then he goes on to say, quote, for my own sake, making a game so different, I've completely shifted my thinking for Pentiment. It is so unusual, so niche. It's for a small audience, and as long as that audience is into it, that's fine, end quote. So what I want to talk about is, obviously, he feels that these smaller developers and you know, the amount of money that they can put into these games, it seems like Game Pass is their savior in a sense, that they can be able to publish this and get a return on it. So my question to you guys is, are these smaller developers, obviously as time goes on, they're going to have more money and they're going to be able to come out and publish bigger games, but the smaller developers and everything, I mean, is Game Pass their saving grace, so to speak? As you know, we're talking about, you know, Pentiment and, you know, talking about words of, you know, God or whatever. But I mean, do you think that for these publishers, it's due to Game Pass that they're able to get these games published? Carl, I'll start with you because you're playing Pentiment right now. So.
Yeah, it's definitely something we've kind of heard before, like with Grounded being one that might not, it's like a really small team working on it, Obsidian, that they might have not been able to do that without Game Pass. And the other one also, which was Bleeding Edge, if you remember that one.
Yeah, remember Bleeding
Right,
Edge.
which wasn't a success, but you know, like it's not like it was terrible. And something that, again, they probably wouldn't have been able to do. And indies, we knew that a lot of indies get recognition because of something like this,
right, that
they might not have before. I mean, I think you can even look at PlayStation Plus Stray, like launching with that and being a game that they gave out, day one.
Right.
I don't think it gets nominated for all those awards if that wasn't the case. Yeah. I mean, because it got so much more attention than it would have gotten. You know, Pentiment would be something that we wouldn't be talking about if this was just an indie studio putting this out on their own somewhere.
Yeah.
It might have just been PC only, or if it was on a console, it probably would have been lost in, maybe, some people, smaller people, like, Somerville came out the same day and no one's really talking about it.
Yeah.
Reviews are not as good on that game, but there was some talk of that game earlier. And again, because of Game Pass, like there was some talk about it, but it kind of, I do feel like when two games, I thought it was a mistake to put those two games out on the same day. And I think with all the buzz around Pentiment getting, like tens out of tens from some places, that kind of buried Somerville.
Yeah.
I mean, I think this is great for development because I think a lot can be learned from these. And then people always say that indie games is where a lot of the innovation is now.
Yeah.
So you can look at Obsidian working on Pentiment and Grounded even, and they get to work on these smaller projects and play around with these new ideas, and maybe they learn something they wouldn't have, learned in the process, and they can apply that to a AAA game, and we can get those sort of innovations a little bit more organically into our AAA games without having to sacrifice, or lose anything. Yeah, because I mean, these people would have to work on they would have to work on a big AAA title, right? Like they would be, Obsidian would be asking for money from someone else if they weren't owned by Microsoft, right? And they would have to asking for money for a specific large project that some publisher was interested in doing, and it wouldn't be Pentiment.
Yeah. Burley, your thoughts?
I straight up agree with Carl on this. Like, if it wasn't for Game Pass, let's say the game came out and it wasn't on Game Pass, I think either PC or console, this thing would have just got lost in the shuffle with so much else coming out and other stuff coming out around the same time. With Pokemon coming out 3 days after this, and other games coming just slightly before, I think this game would have got lost in the shuffle, and no one would have talked about it. With Game Pass, you're like, this does put this up a bit because, and Microsoft is, just showing it off, and Game Pass, and their marketing with Game Pass and just showing it off, and it's getting more people talking about it because people's eyes see it and be like, oh, this is an interesting art style. I should check this game out.
Yeah. Game Pass is what everybody's talking about, but I mean, other subscription services as well, as like you were mentioning, Carl, with like PlayStation Plus and a game like Stray. I mean, so you have a lot of these smaller games that they're looking to be on the subscription service to get as
many
shown.
eyes on.
Yep, to get the eyes from gamers and from the media on it. So yeah, it's a good thing. I mean, there's a lot of people that are kind of in the air about subscription services, but in this case, I mean, especially for these smaller developers and that want to grow and become bigger and to make bigger, maybe AAA titles in the future. Yeah, I mean, a subscription service like Game Pass is something they can capitalize on. So definitely. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on. So next up, we're going to talk about the Game Award nominees. Of course, this last week, we got all of the nominees in, so we're going to be talking about that. And obviously, actually, I want to get that other one up there. Okay, so from Gematsu, if you want to look at the article there, it shows every single one of the nominees. But we're gonna go through some of them and talk about, are we surprised? Are we not surprised? And give our prediction on what game is going to win that particular category, what we think is probably going to win, and then our choice of what we think is going to win. So let's go ahead and go to the first one here. So best performance. So I mean, obviously Ashley Birch, of course, as Aloy, and I don't know, just who I think is going to win. I think Ashley is going to win, and that is my pick. I mean, I just, for the amount of dialogue that she had to produce for this game, to, as Aloy again, with all of the specific dialogue choices. I mean, and she's very well known in the industry now. Christopher Judge, obviously, as Kratos. I mean, everybody knows him. Sonny Soljic there, though. I mean, as Atreus. And Manon Gage for Immortality. That was a surprise to me. As well as, of course, Charlotte McBurney for, of course, Amicia in A Plague Tale Requiem. But I just think of all of these performances, I think Ashley's as Aloy, again, was probably the strongest. Burley, what about you? What do you think in this category?
Ashley, to me, is the strongest. I agree. She did, especially in Forbidden West, what she did with Aloy.
Yeah.
But I think the person that's actually going to win, I think it's going to be Christopher Judge. I just have a feeling that more people are going to pick there. Yeah.
Carl?
Yeah, I haven't actually experienced any of these performances, other than I guess Charlotte, because I played the previous Plague Tale. It's the same actress.
Well, you played Horizon Zero Dawn, right?
That's
So,
true, I guess. Okay.
And you did play God of War 2018, didn't you?
Yeah, okay, you're right. I did experience these people in previous games.
Yeah. Except for Man
where-
Engage in Immortality.
except for her.
So, yeah.
So it's just I can't tell you who I think should win, who I think might be picked just based on what's going on out there. I mean, I don't know. I mean, did Christopher Judge win before? That's where I'm looking at. Like, who's won before? Who are the voters going to think like, oh, like these people have had accolades and maybe we're going to give it to maybe Man Engage wins because that performance is great and
Right.
it's an indie thing, right? And they're like, yeah, let's give her some recognition, or maybe Charlotte because people don't really know her as well, but she did a great job in those games. She's holding up with some of the best. Sunny, I think, is probably not going to win. I feel like a lot of people don't really particularly like Atreus' personality, although
like supporting performance, I guess. Yeah, would be. Yes,
he is Atreus, right? I'm assuming.
I think so.
Yes,
I would assume. All right, yeah, that's it.
Okay, all right. So next up, let's talk about best narrative. Now, of course, there were some people out there debating whether or not Elden Ring should be in the narrative category.
Yeah.
But we got Plague Tale Requiem, Elden Ring, God of War Ragnarok, Horizon Forbidden West, Immortality. I think it's probably God of War Ragnarok is going to win this one. But if I had to choose, I would probably pick a Plague Tale Requiem. For its story about the brother and sister. That's just me, but Horizon Forbidden West, I mean, it's an interesting story, but it's just kind of like God of War Ragnarok. It's carrying over from the previous game.
Well, that's the same with a Plague Tale.
Yeah, let me finish, Burley. As well as a Plague Tale Requiem, but I mean, just the brother and sister dynamic here and of the historical aspect of the game as well, because this is in the 14th century and what was going on there in Europe at that time. So yeah, to me, I would pick a Plague Tale Requiem. So Carl, how about you on this one?
Again, I have to go just based on what I think is going to happen, word of mouth, where I think this could go, because I haven't played any of these. So yeah, I mean, I think, and also personally, I think Elden Ring doesn't belong in this category. I want to put that out there. It has a narrative, of course, there is a narrative. I'm saying that it can't be considered, but from everything I've heard about this game and the other Souls games I've tried that are similar, like I don't think that it's a representative of the best narrative across all video games that came out in the year. Like, I just think that they could have put something else in there. Elden Ring will win plenty of other stuff. Like, it doesn't need to take this category, and I don't think it will. So like God of War Ragnarok is probably the favorite. And I'll give the outside chance to Immortality if enough of these voters played it, and it must be a really interesting narrative if it's getting this award, right? So yeah. Or not narrative. Well, I say that, but then I said, oh, the ring doesn't belong there, so who knows? No, but Immortality I know is about narrative, right? That's what makes that game special, is the narrative. So
Burley?
Yeah, Elden Ring, it does belong to be up here. The narrative, it has narrative, is not very good in my opinion, because like you can miss key moments of the narrative if you didn't explore down this way of the map and talk to this random NPC. There's so much stuff like you can just easily miss in that kind of narrative, and I really don't like that, because it's like I didn't explore this one little thing, so I missed the main part of the plot that would explain nine other things. Oh, good. God of War I haven't played, but I have a feeling that might be the favorite to win. But out of the games I have played Plague Tale Requiem. I got to go Horizon for me. Immortality I do need to try.
Yeah, me too. I haven't had a chance to play that yet.
Yeah, and that one's on Game Pass. I could try that.
All right, next up, best indie. Cult of the Lamb, Neon White, Sifu, Stray, Tunic. Honestly, I've only played Stray, and that's the one I would pick because that's the only one I've played. I don't know too much. I mean, I guess the dark horse maybe would be Tunic. In this, I think Stray is probably going to win. But I that's just me. I think probably my choice would be Stray. I think it'll probably win. I don't know. Burley, what about you? Indie category.
I think what will actually win is actually Cult of the Lamb. This game has taken a life of its own, like on Twitch and all that, and a lot of people and like people's communities and stuff. This thing is huge. And I just have yet to play it because I got to buy it, and then it's just a matter of, hey, when am I going to make time for this between the other 5 games I'm going through?
Yeah.
Neon White have not played. Sifu. Like this one's a hard one because like I've played Sifu, Stray, and Tunic. It's like all I really enjoyed. But for me, I think I'd give it to Sifu. Because I'd love to see this game win because it was just such an interesting with the whole aging system and all that. It was such a cool mechanic.
Carl, how about you for indie?
I think they nailed it with these nominees. Like these are definitely the indies of the year for sure. Like these are the ones that got the most talk, and that were the most interesting and were doing cool things, right? As far as gameplay and art. And everything.
Yeah.
What I think is going to win is Stray, simply because it's nominated for so many awards and it's not going to win Game of the Year. So
no,
if you think it's potentially Game of the Year, then it's definitely the best indie, right?
Yeah,
obviously.
So
that's why I think it's going to win indie for sure. Personally, I only played Tunic, and I love Tunic. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
And I think Cult of the Lamb is another one that I really want to try. I've heard a lot of things about it. Like I'd be interested in that one.
Yeah. Okay, next up, best ongoing game. Should this be your category? I don't know.
No,
I don't think so. I mean, it's like
No.
It's just 10 years later, the same game has been nominated year after year after year, and in some of these games, it's been nominated kind of like year after year. Like Apex Legends, Destiny 2, Final Fantasy 14, Fortnite, Genshin Impact. I mean, I know a lot of people play Apex. I know a lot of people play Fortnite. Yeah, Destiny 2 still has its players out there. Final Fantasy 14, I think that one won last year. I think.
Yep.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, Genshin Impact, I would say would be the dark horse here, would probably win it. It's a Chinese developed game. It's pretty popular around the world. Even out here in Japan, it's widely popular. I don't know. I would probably pick Genshin Impact on this one. Carl, what do you think? Best ongoing game.
It is, I guess, a little rude for us to all be like, no, this shouldn't exist, because I do understand why it exists. Like, so many people play these games, right? And these games are always adding content, and it's not like that content doesn't have, value to be awarded, right? Like, whatever, art, gameplay, whatever, anything, that aspect of it, story even. But man, it's just tedious, because every year it's always seems to be the same games every year. And I don't know. I don't have my finger on the pulse of like any of this type of stuff to tell you what I think. Which one is the buzzing game right now? Which one is like, just coasting along as it always does, or which one, I don't know, had an uptick because additional great content. I have no idea. Destiny 2, maybe. I don't know. I feel like everything else.
Like I said, for what I know, always do. From what I know, I mean, the Genshin Impact is,
maybe, yeah. I feel like Genshin is just doing what Genshin does, releasing new waifus all the time, right?
That and content, and
Well, they had Aloy in the game.
Yeah, they did.
Hey, she's a potential waifu, right?
Yeah. Yeah, well, there are some Japanese streamers out here, like on Twitch, and they kind of they comment on, they try to make the game look like the Japanese style, like temples and things like that in certain areas, and they're like, no, that's not how it is. But yeah, I mean, it's popular, and it's popular, everywhere pretty much. So I don't know. Burley, what do you think?
I think Genshin has a good chance of winning it, but I think Final Fantasy 14 will take it again.
Again, okay.
Yeah, I don't know why. I think with the latest expansion, it's just the amount of people that are just always I hear that are still playing this game, because this game's been out for like, I think it's getting close to like 8 years now.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so next up, best art direction: Elden Ring, God of War Ragnarok, Horizon Forbidden West, Scorn, and Stray. I don't know, man. This is a tough one. I like Scorn's art. I really do. Stray is really cool as well. The art style in the game. Me personally, I think I would pick Horizon Forbidden West in this one. I mean, just the landscapes in the game and where you are, so beautiful and realistic looking. And then of course with all of the the machines and the new machine styles that they put into this second game. God of War Ragnarok, it's beautiful too, but I think Horizon Forbidden West looks better. I really do. That's just me. Elden Ring, I've never played it, so I don't know. So for me, I would choose Horizon Forbidden West in this category. Scorn could be a dark horse, though. I don't know. Yeah, that's just my pick. Burley, what about you? Art direction.
Yeah, the thing is, this one's a little hard because they all have different, art styles and all that. So this one's a really kind of hard one. Like Elden Ring, it does have good. I'm going to give the game a little praise here, so I know this is going to shock some people. The art in some of those areas, it is beautiful. It has like a damaged wasteland or whatever you're going into some of these areas, so it is really good. God of War, from what I've seen, I haven't seen too much because I'm trying to stay away until I get my copy in. It looks great.
Yeah.
Horizon, like I remember I playing that on my 4K TV. It was like, oh my god, it's breathtaking. Especially like when you do some of the underwater sections.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
just when there's the sunrise and the sunset. I mean, it looks like a real sunrise and a real sunset. I mean, it's just so beautiful,
Yeah.
So
Scorn, really interesting art style, and then Stray is really good for the art. For me, I'm gonna go Horizon, but I have a feeling God of War is gonna take this.
Carl, your thoughts?
Interesting. Yeah. I'm just gonna go with what I think will probably win this category, and I think it's gonna be Elden Ring.
Yeah.
I think this is one of those categories where it's just gonna take it because people are so enamored with that game, and a lot of it has to do with the art, right? The very interesting designs of all the enemies, of all the locations, of the world itself in that game. And I've seen some incredible looking things in that, in that. So I think that's going to be the one that's going to, So I feel a category, like Elden Rings, we know is going to take home a couple. I think this will be one.
Okay. Next up, best role playing game. Carl, I'll let you go off on this one. Yeah, Elden Ring, Live Alive, or Live Alive, I guess I would call it. Pokemon Legends Arceus, yeah. Carl, yeah, Live Alive.
I think it's Live Alive from
Live Alive. Okay, yeah,
heard.
Live
Live
Alive, Live Alive. Live
but
Alive.
I had to like hear them say it in like a commercial or an ad or something.
Yeah. So apologies to the publishers. Yeah, if I'm just destroying this, but
Like,
I'll
it's
say
a weird
Live
name.
Alive. Yeah, Live Alive.
Weird name.
Pokemon Legends Arceus Triangle Strategy Xenoblade Chronicles 3. I have not played any of these games, so I will abstain.
Oh,
Well,
you're gonna.
I will abstain from this one.
Who do you think is going to win? You got to have like
Okay,
let's go with
if
that.
I had to pick, I would probably say Triangle Strategy.
Wow, I would love that to happen.
Yeah, I just I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an RPG. I mean, and it's very popular. It was popular when it first came out, and it still is. So yeah, I guess Triangle Strategy. Burley, go ahead. Who do you think's going to win this one? Or who do you think's going to win? What's your pick?
Who's gonna win? Elden, because you got the diehard fans on this. The one I would love to see win is Triangle Strategy, because I love Xenoblade, but Triangle Strategy, that combat and the in depth with all that and the class system and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, that was just so good.
Okay.
The
And
story,
where
too,
you're
I really enjoyed.
Yeah,
the
so
story,
I was gonna
think.
say your story, your choices really do matter and do affect the thing, and do affect who you have in your party and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Like that is a game I need to go back and get the true ending.
Yeah. Carl?
Yeah, I mean, I do think Elden Ring is going to win this one, and like really, I would love Triangle Strategy to win. That would be my pick.
Yeah.
The role playing category is interesting now because there's such a wide variety of what is a role playing game. Like Elden Ring seems to be something very different from all of these three, or sorry, five, from the other four there.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of feel like they could expand RPG into two categories, like you have action game and action adventure game. Like maybe you need to have like action RPG and traditional RPG. So you would have like Live Alive, Pokemon, Triangle Strategy, and some other stuff. And I guess Xenoblade is more actions with Elden Ring.
Well, a category that they should have, but then every other country that makes a game would say, well, then they should have one for their country as well. It should be JRPG.
Which is why I didn't say that, because I just said like more traditional, which I mean turn-based, but that is there's a variation in that. Yeah. Right. Because this is very console-centric awards, obviously.
Yeah.
I played
4 of the 5 games are on the Switch.
Right. Yeah. It's like I played Expeditions Rome earlier this year, and that was this year. I think that could be nominated for Best RPG. And Warhammer 40K Chaos Gate Demon Hunters. Yeah. I think definitely should be nominated for Best Role Playing Game, and it was nominated for Best PC Game in the Golden Joystick Awards.
Don't you think they should split the categories into Western RPG and Japanese RPG, JRPG, like traditional RPG?
Because those two I mentioned are turn-based, tactical RPGs that I would put in the same category. Well, very obviously in the same category, Triangle Strategy.
Well, then there should be a turn-based category then. Turn-based games.
Right. Yeah. If you want to make it that clear, it's like action turn-based, right? Yeah. But like Live Alive is a different type of turn-based, and like Pokemon and Live Alive versus Triangle Strategy. But you don't need to get into the depths of that, right? There's other games that could be in this type of category and separated different ways. Because like so many games, people want to say like, I mean, I heard people saying that Horizon Forbidden West was an RPG, and I'm like, I don't think so. But if you wanted to call it one, it would definitely be an action RPG like Elden Ring.
Yeah,
more than anything. Be in that category.
Yeah. Okay. So next up, Best Multiplayer. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, Multiverses, Overwatch 2, Splatoon 3, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Shredder's Revenge. I think Modern Warfare 2 is probably going to win, but my dark horse would be Splatoon 3. You know, it's it's hugely popular out here in Japan. Whether or not it's hugely popular out west, I don't know. But I mean, yeah, I think the majority of gamers are probably playing Call of Duty still, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
So I think probably Call of Duty is going to win. Carl, what about you? Multiplayer?
Yeah. I mean, like, it's not TMNT, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know why that's on there. Like, I like that game, but like, does it deserve to be nominated for any of these awards? No, not at all. Like, it's a, you know, it's a good nostalgic game.
Look at Burley there, yeah. He's like,
Who now? You know, who's gonna win? I mean, based on who's voting and stuff. Like, I don't think Kata's winning. Then the three in the middle there, Multi versus Overwatch 2 and Splatoon 3. I mean, I don't know. I think it's a toss up. And maybe Overwatch 2. I mean, I think a lot of people are like pleasantly surprised and happy about that game.
Yeah.
But it's hard to say.
Yeah. Burley?
I think Call of Duty will win it, but I wouldn't be surprised if Overwatch 2 took it. Splatoon 3, I think is going to get a fair amount of votes. TMNT, I'd love to see just win because it just being the smaller game here, just coming in. But I get with Carl saying who's going to vote for that.
Yeah.
It's weird that it's even there. I mean, like, you technically could have put Halo Infinite on there because it was eligible this year.
Yeah. But Halo Infinite's not good.
Well, a lot of people are unhappy with the
they
and content drops, but the quality of when you're playing the game is like really good.
Yeah, well, you finally just got the ability in multiplayer just to get XP without having to do stupid challenges.
Yeah.
I think they knew. They were like, we cannot put Halo Infinite here, or we're just gonna get laughed.
Yeah.
So they put Turtles instead.
I guess if we get it, well, all right, let's go on.
Yeah. Okay. And next, best action.
Mm-hmm. Here, so okay, I'll talk about it again because we were just bringing it up.
Yeah.
Halo. So this is where I would have put Halo Infinite. Like, I would have get rid of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles again. Like, doesn't belong there.
Yeah.
Fun game again. It's fun. It's a fun game, but it's just a simple beat 'em up that's like very nostalgic, and like it's not the best action game of the year at all in any way. Like, it's not great.
But pizza time.
Gameplay. Yeah, it's just fun. It's a fun, like, yay, like I get to mash buttons with my friends and feel like I was a kid again, like.
Here's another category that they should create: best retro game, because every year games are getting older and older, and then they could be put into like a retro category. I mean, TMNT could be like in a retro revival. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but like as action games go, like Halo Infinite, when you're considering the campaign, should definitely be in this category.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say people just forgot about it, or a lot of the outlets voting, they voted on Halo Infinite for their awards last year, and there were many places put it as game of the year, and it won game of the year. I forgot which publication. Someone gave it game of the year last year. So I do understand why it's not there, just because that's just the nature of the way this award show is timed, right?
Right.
But I feel like there's probably another action game that belongs on this that's more significant than TMNT.
Yeah.
But I think Bayonetta 3 wins this one. No, Sifu could win. Yeah, those are those.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, I'd probably give it to Sifu, maybe. I don't know. Burley, how about you?
Oh, I would give it to Sifu. Call of Duty here. Neon White. Neon White I need to check out. Bayonetta 3 I've been interested in. But I got to try all the other Bayonetta games. But out of the one the one of the two that I did play, Sifu is the best because it actually does some original things with it, with the whole aging and with the weapon system and stuff, and the shortcut paths and all that. And the more you play it, the better you really do get.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So those are some of the nominees, and we're going to be talking about the game of the year one later. But next,
one comment I want to make about these was interesting that I think people were talking about, which was best fighting game.
Okay.
Because Sifu was nominated for best fighting game.
Yeah.
And it is not a fighting game. So I don't know why it's there. It's nominated somehow for best action and best fighting game, but it shouldn't be in the fighting game category.
Okay. Yeah.
I assume it won't win because it's not a fighting game, but just thought I needed to throw that out there. That was a weird thing that they did.
Okay.
I don't know if you guys have a thoughts on that one.
Well, there's fighting in the game, but it's not the traditional fighting type of game, kind of like Street Fighter or anything like that. So
most video games.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I do agree with Carl here on that.
Yeah.
It shouldn't have been put there.
Okay.
Hopefully one of the other fighting games wins. Sorry, I just had like a massive brain fart there.
Well, that's because Burley is trying to think of all of the bugs he's encountered in Pokemon Violet, which he is playing right now. And of course, our next topic before we get into the Game of the Year discussion, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet are full of glaring technical problems. So,
I knew you were going to bring that image back.
Of course, yeah. So you can take a look at all of what they comment about with the bugs and the technical problems over on IGN. So probably video viewers, the article is there below. So yeah, I mean, they've been updating a lot of people on like Twitter and showing their situations where they run into crashes or bugs and things like that. And yeah, and there was a day one patch, but that didn't fix anything. When it came to the games. So I mean, I'm sure there's probably going to be more patches coming in the days and weeks ahead. Whether or not that's going to completely fix the games, we hope so. But I don't know. So I'm going to throw it to you, Burley, because you're playing Violet. What have you encountered so far?
Okay, so what I've encountered, and it is poorly optimized, and the engine they've been keep using is just horrible. Because I've heard people be like, well, it'd be better on better hardware. It's like, that would help. I'm not gonna lie, but you can have games run like Xenoblade Chronicles 3 with the engine that's using, runs great, smooth, and all well. This is just like the engine they're using is horrible. They really need to revamp their whole engine that they're using. Go to another engine. I don't know what engine they're using, but you need to ditch it.
Is it the same engine that they used on Pokemon Legends Arceus?
That I don't know. That'll be honest. I don't know which engine they are using, and if it's the same as Arceus. Of like Sword and Shield, Let's Go, Pokemon Legends Arceus, and Scarlet and Violet. Scarlet and Violet runs the worst. I've had a lot of stuttering, and it's just you can't unnotice it. And then there are points where graphically the game's quality goes really down. It's like, this is not good. Like I've seen some of the stuff of people falling through the floor and just weird animations and the really bad stuttering on catching. I haven't had the stuttering on catching, but like you'll just be talking and the characters will do a little walk for their like cutscene kind of thing. And it's just like they'll start walking and then just stop and then start. It's like, oh my God, this is just really poorly optimized. And it just seems like Nintendo was like, fuck it, we need a holiday game out.
Yeah, that's what you were saying earlier. You were saying that because they didn't have a holiday game planned, they just decided, okay, let's get 2 Pokemon games out in 1 year because Arceus came out in January or the beginning of February?
Yeah, it came out January 25th or something like that.
Yeah, so they're like, we need a holiday game. Let's just throw Scarlet and Violet out there.
In my personal opinion, I think you should have put Arceus in November, because the thing is now this is going to take over. Arceus is going to be forgotten. I haven't played too much into Violet, so I can't tell you how much it's going to take from Legends Arceus. There are certain aspects of Legends Arceus I really did enjoy.
Yeah.
I have some stuff I do like on the actual map, when you push the map button, it will show you in the area you're at what Pokemon spawn there. So I can see on the map okay, if I want to catch a Ralts, for example,
Mhm.
there's Ralts in this area, so I know I can walk and you can tap and mark them, and it'll give you the generic area of where they spawn, so you can walk to.
Carl, any comments on the technical issues or anything?
I mean, it seems like it's a real shame because from everything I read and I've heard about this game since its release and from reviews and everything, it does sound like it's possibly one of the best Pokemon games that they've ever made.
Yeah.
With the exception of that, the performance is awful and there's some pretty terrible graphical glitches and bugs going on.
Yeah.
And it's that stuff is kind of avoidable. Like obviously, sometimes you got to put your game out, but like there's really no reason they had to put a game out. Like they already had a Pokemon this year, like you said. Like there's no reason they need to rush like annual Pokemon releases. I get like it's a moneymaker, but like I don't understand the need for that.
Like in Japan, they could bring it out at the end of March because that's when the school year ends here, and then you have like 2 weeks of break time where kids would just be all over this game.
Oh, yeah.
So they could have pushed it back to March out here, but no.
It sounds like story elements are better than ever. Gameplay adds good stuff from what I hear. The open world is good from what I've been reading and seeing. So yeah, I mean, like it's gone in a direction that people wanted, but like you got this messed up version that doesn't look, that honestly like visually also just doesn't look very good. I actually like was watching something where a commercial came up. Like I was streaming something and a Pokemon commercial came up and it's on my 4K 55-inch TV, and I was like, this looks terrible. This looks like a mobile game like blowing up on my TV. Like this doesn't look very good. And so, I maybe this game comes out, maybe they do like an ultraviolet and ultra
please
scarlet,
God,
no. Right? And no, listen, you're gonna want that, right? Because when the Switch Pro or 2 comes out, like soon, they'll launch it with that, and it'll be like the ultimate version of this game, and it'll look so much better. It won't have any of the bugs, and it'll be like the best Pokemon game ever made, possibly.
Yeah, you're having way too much faith. This is something because like I've been a fan of the series since a young kid, since it came out, and it's like they have gotten so lazy with this series. They have really gotten lazy with this, and the problem is we, the consumers, we've been putting up with it and keep buying it. We need to start holding them accountable and being like, no, we're not gonna just give the money on this, because that's the only way I think they're honestly at this point they're gonna change. If after Scarlet and Violet, the next game they throw out tanks, then they have to put the effort. That this series makes so much money between the games, the trading cards, all the merch and all that. It's like this thing prints money.
Could you just imagine what like 10, 15 years ago, like the execs at Nintendo would have thought if they saw this game in the state that it's in? They would have never let this game come out. I mean, because back in those days, like Miyamoto and in the early days of Nintendo, they would never come out with a game with any bugs in it. I mean, so I don't know what's I don't know what's running through their minds right now, but I think they need to kind of reevaluate the situation and go back to the way things used to be, and say, no, it's not going to come out till it's ready.
I do understand what you're saying, but you got to remember, Nintendo doesn't own Pokemon outright. They own 1/3 of it. They own shared ownership of this. So that's probably why it doesn't have the same quality standard as other Nintendo games.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, they're the Nintendo's name is all over it with the publishing, but
and again, because it's only on Nintendo consoles, so that's that they get that association. But someone, maybe we need someone to come out there and pull the strings. Microsoft.
Come on, Miyamoto, get out there.
No. Microsoft or even Sony, I'll let them go for it. So just go out there and buy Game Freak and Creatures and just make them put the proper effort and time into these games, and then you can get it on PC and one of the other consoles.
Yeah, or take because I've played the other games that are have been inspired by Pokemon that are people call them the clones and all that, like Koromon and the Neximons and stuff like that. Those people do a so much better job lately. They are budget price Pokemon games, but the amount of effort and the time and the love and care they put in, it's frig. I would love for them to just come in, push Game Freak out and Creature Co, push them all out, and just let them do it, because if they had the budgets and all that, it would just be insane to see what they would do.
Yeah, or maybe they need to buy another studio like one of those and get them to split the time and dev time on Pokemon games. How is Game Freak doing Arceus and this game the same year? That coming out in the same year? That's I don't know. I know that there's completely other ends of the year, but there's just not, the team isn't that big to do these types of games.
Okay. All right, guys. So let's move back to the Game Awards again. And of course, our discussion falls to Game of the Year. Of course. Plague Tale Requiem, Elden Ring, God of War Ragnarok, Horizon Forbidden West, Stray, Xenoblade Chronicles 3. My pick of the year, just my personal feeling, what I want to win is Horizon Forbidden West. I love that game. I love the world. I love Aloy. It's just an amazing game. I really like it. A Plague Tale Requiem is an amazing game as well. I'm still working on that, as well as God of War Ragnarok. But God of War Ragnarok to me is still a lot like God of War 2018. Elden Ring I've never played, and honestly, I don't know if I ever will, because that's not my cup of tea, those type of games. I mean, for all of you out there that play those games, I salute you, and I'm happy that you have a lot of fun playing them. Stray, interesting that it got on this list, for Game of the Year, but I don't think it has a chance, as well as Xenoblade Chronicles. So what will probably win, we're going to talk about that later, but my pick is Horizon Forbidden West. Carl?
No, I can't talk about what will possibly. It's just right after this.
Of course you can talk about what will possibly.
No, because that's when is that discussion? Do I gotta wait?
Okay, yeah, because that is our topic of the show.
I guess I'll wait. We'll do that.
Okay. So, but what is your personal choice, though?
I'm surprised that Xenoblade Chronicles 3 there, though I thought it was a possibility. I think that's interesting. Plague Tale Requiem, I'm happy to see that there, because I haven't played this one. I've loved the first one, and I'm very excited. Solo
Studios,
to get into the second one. That'll be what I do after Persona.
Mm-hmm.
That'll be Plague Tale. And again, I haven't played any of these, so I know. So I can't say. I don't want to talk about where I think what's going to happen.
Okay.
What would I personally pick based on everything I know?
Yeah.
Even though it's not my cup of tea, I would pick Elden Ring, simply because, I mean, it was a phenomenon, and it's doing much more. It was the thing that everyone. It was the next step in that genre, that the Souls-like game that people were looking for.
Okay.
So I totally understand the love for that game. But if I played all these games, it would probably end up being, Ragnarok, right, or Plague Tale even. But
okay. Burley.
For me, is Xenoblade. It's really surprising, but as Expat and I've said I think it was on the morning show, they probably put this up for the Nintendo entry. You gotta have something for Nintendo.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And I thought people think oh, Kirby might be like, can't get that out of here. Get Kirby.
No, Kirby. No. Check yourself, sir. Kirby in the Forgotten Land actually really does deserve. I like Xenoblade, but Kirby should be up here. No.
Well, like a
because
Plague Tale is like the Xbox, representative in this category
It's
here.
sort
so,
of, right? Only
yeah,
because it
Xbox
launched with the
PC.
Game
Yeah.
Pass.
Yeah.
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 Oh. Kirby should have been up here, but of these games that I've played,
Mm-hmm.
I gotta give it to Stray.
Wow.
Okay.
If you, I know this. I know this one may shock a few of you, but you play the game like I played. I did everything. I went and got the platinum trophy. I did the time trial.
Well, I didn't
beat
get the
game
platinum. I played it though. I really enjoyed it. I mean,
when you do everything and you really fully explore this world,
Mhm.
yeah.
Brother, you can vote for Kirby in the best Nintendo game category. Also known as best family game, but best Nintendo game. Because like Nintendo's like Switch Sports is somehow nominated for like best family game. Like what?
Even though that game didn't launch with everything, you had to wait 3 months to get the final sport.
I don't know how, but all right.
Okay, guys, so let's get to the topic of the show. So we know what our Game of the War nominees are, but come on, guys. We know there's only 2 of these games that are most likely going to win. Yeah, I would love to see Stray win, just like kind of like last year. It Takes Two was the surprise, and I mean, to see Stray win it would be amazing, but I don't think that's going to happen, unfortunately. But the 2 games that are most likely going to win: God of War Ragnarok or Elden Ring. So our topic of the show: which one will win Game of the Year, and why? I mean, obviously, God of War Ragnarok is a late entry. It just made the cutoff point, basically. Elden Ring, like Carl, you were saying, is a phenomenon. It's that type of game from, the Dark Souls, genre that people were looking for. And it's got partially George R.R. Martin's name written on it. But I mean, I mean, I think God of War Ragnarok, it got in there obviously, because of the Sony brand. Jeff Keighley, he's a big Sony, fanboy. As well as
wow, but the game is
let me finish. Let me finish.
All right.
He's big into Sony, and of course, Sony throws a lot of money when it comes to these game awards. Obviously it's the media that are nominating these games, obviously, and a lot of the media are PlayStation centric media. So I don't know. What do you think? Which one is going to win it? Is it going to be God of War Ragnarok, or is it going to be Elden Ring? With all of those, people out there that are so infatuated with this genre. Carl, go ahead. What do you think? Which one wins, God of War Ragnarok or Elden Ring, and why?
Like I've said it all year, and I'm sticking to it. It's Elden Ring. Elden Ring is winning Game of the Year, and if you look at these 2 games, I think there's a parallel to be drawn between the 2018 year, where it was Red Dead Redemption 2 versus God of War 2018.
Yeah.
And these games are in similar positions, right? But the other way around now. So, Red Dead Redemption 2 was the sequel that was better than the first, but in some ways people still like the first better. There were things about that game that people were critical about, but it was still an amazing game, absolutely worth, winning that award. And then you had God of War 2018, which was an incredible reinvention of an amazing franchise that was doing things that people didn't expect for the franchise.
Mm-hmm.
So you look at then these 2, and you have the same thing. You have God of War Ragnarok being the sequel to a great game that is also great, doing great things, improving on things. But from what I hear in the chatter, there's criticisms about maybe some of the long-windedness of some of the segments of the game. I don't know how the overall story plays out. I'm not really trying to look into that. So, but I'm sure it's a good story. I don't know if people are looking at it as this game is definitively better than the previous game, or maybe slightly, right? Whereas Elden Ring is that new experience, right? It is we took something that we've been honing and we added something to it, and we made it like a unique, better version of that people were looking for, something that didn't know they were going to get as good as it was going to be. So yeah, I mean, I just don't see how Elden Ring doesn't win this award. It is the most talked about game for the entire year, from the day it came out, actually before it came out, I would say, even, right? To the day it came out to still today, people talk about that game so much. And Ragnarok seems to be getting a lot of like, it's great, but like to it. People are like, yeah, we knew it would be great and we love it, but it also has some, criticisms that people are still like saying, like, maybe it isn't a 10 out of 10, maybe it's a 9,
Yeah. When did Bloodborne came out? What, 2014?
I think it was 2015. Yeah, give me
2015.
Okay.
And Bloodborne came out in February.
2015.
Right?
March 24th, 2015.
Right. And that game was similar in nature to Elden Ring in a sense. It's from software, right? But it didn't win Game of the Year. What was it? Witcher, right? Witcher 3 won Game of the Year in 2015, I think it was, right?
Witcher 3 deserves it for sure.
Yeah. I don't know. So, I don't know. Burley, your thoughts?
Yeah, like Carl said, Elden Ring is going to win it because this game, because I have played this game. I think I'm the only one that's played this game. I put 50 hours into it.
Yeah. And
I had to stream this game. People on this game are like a cult that love this game.
Yeah.
And like,
it's true.
I'm not trying to be mean by this, but you cannot even criticize the game to them. You can't put out any freaking fault to the game, any little thing, without them being like, no, you just don't understand. Like, I've literally had these conversations because I've said this game should have had crossplay. No, shit. What? It's an online focused game. No, the multiplayer, the system doesn't work that well. Especially on release, the multiplayer is pretty bad.
Yeah.
No, it's not. You're just not doing it right.
Yeah.
I would love to see God of War. From the people like my friends that I trust on it, they say a lot of them say it is good. It is better than the first one, but there are still a lot of people saying, yeah, it's like 2018. It's a great game, but I don't think it's got enough of a chance to beat Elden Ring, because this game, since it's coming out in like, was it March? I think Elden Ring came out. It just dominated everything.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to make this unanimous. I think Elden Ring's going to win it. And the main reason is because God of War is already, it's an established IP, and this is a sequel. Elden Ring is not. Elden Ring is new. Yes, it's the same, Dark Souls type of genre, but it's new. And, I think that's what it's going to come down to. Yeah, that's what I think. So I think we're all in agreement. Yeah, that Elden Ring is going to win Game of the Year. So
yeah, there's usually got to be some sort of. I mean, generally in the year, that like it depends on the nominees, but there's got to be some sort of special sauce, right? That puts you over the edge for Game of the Year.
Yeah.
And like Elden Ring has that, and God of War doesn't necessarily have that, right? It's the thing you already know that's great. And you look at last year as well. It Takes Two, like it had the special sauce, and it was doing something that other games didn't. It did something unique, and that's what's gonna win you awards.
Did Last of Us 2 win Game of the Year? I think, or was it?
Yes, it did.
It did.
It
so
beat Ghost, which is not right.
Which, look, if you want to, I would just quickly say, like, Last of Us 2 is better in many ways than Ghost of Tsushima, but like I understand you having a preference of one over the other, because they're very different games. Like you could definitely Ghost of Tsushima could be something you love way more than Last of Us because they're just completely different in the way they play.
Well, I'm trying to think of a way God of War Ragnarok would win. Well, you have the precedent of Last of Us 2 then. I mean, it's the same story, a continuation of the same story. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
But,
yeah,
does Kratos die early on to a golf club?
Yes, he does. Spoilers. I don't know. Does a hammer count as a golf club?
Yes. You play as Thor for the rest of the game?
Yeah.
There you go.
Cool. That'd be really cool. No, you would play as Atreus and no one would be happy. But
you play as Atreus for a bit, but Thor, in the Thor sections, you see Thor is so humble. He's so good. And every time you start going into battle for him, Kashmir by Led Zeppelin keeps playing.
Yeah, I don't remember the other nominees for was it 2019? Was it for or no, maybe 2020? I don't know, Last of Us 2 and Ghost of Tsushima. Because like Ghost, I wouldn't say has that special sauce, and maybe I wouldn't say Last of Us 2 might not have it either. But
it does for a particular fan base, I think. So
yeah,
into the samurai genre of games.
Yeah, but because the Ghost of Tsushima, it's an Assassin's Creed game, right? It's like we're doing the thing, right? We're doing the open world sort of thing that everybody likes, and we did it well, right? We did it well. Yeah. But again, I don't think it was doing anything like it artistically. It was nice, right? But it wasn't like that next level of that. And Last of Us 2, it was like just excellence in every category. And you might not like the story, right?
The narrative was amazing. Right? Narrative,
but like I thought it was amazing. But let's say that's the one thing that's your issue. Every other category, it is excellence, right?
And Carl, they're already talking about the third game. It's coming. I
would love to play it.
Yeah. The voice actress that played Maggie, she's up for the third game. And yeah, I would not be surprised if it's already in like pre-production and nobody's talking about it yet. They're keeping it under lock and key.
Well, they're already milking it. They re-put part 1 as a PS5 game. They're not stupid. They're gonna milk.
Yeah.
Milk this.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's coming. I think. Yeah. So. Yeah, and I'm be excited. I'd just love to see her and Ellie join up and make amends and try to figure out how to get the cure. That would be an amazing story. I think. Yeah, we shall see. Yeah. Hopefully next year, or hey, at the Game Awards, some surprise at Game Awards. We'll see like a very little teaser
factions, right?
Exactly. But
that first.
Maybe we'll see like some little set design or something from it, like we did for the multiplayer. Yeah. So, yeah. Okay, so that was our topic of the show. So it's time to now talk about the upcoming new game releases for, of course, the week of November 21st through the 27th. So, Carl, you're up first. Your game. What do we have this week? What is your pick of the week?
I have Evil West, November 22nd, PC, PlayStation 4, 5, Xbox One, Series XS. A dark menace consumes the Old West. In solo or co-op, fight with style and visceral explosive combat against bloodthirsty monstrosities. Eradicate the vampiric hordes with your lightning-fueled gauntlet and become a Wild West superhero. I mean, everything I just said there is just like, just hype and awesomeness, right?
Yeah. A lot of Van Helsing,
Yeah. I mean, will this game be good? I don't know. Is this really going to depend on the gameplay? But it looks like a fun, cool game.
Oh yeah. What the heck was that?
This game looks like this is just going to be I don't mean this to be derogatory, but just sit down, dumb fun action.
Oh yeah. You can see the skeleton,
just turn your brain off, just have these cool weapons and just shoot shit and everything.
Uh-huh. Yeah, so I think it was already out on PC, right, Carl? I think it was September 20th. It says here from the trailer that I downloaded.
Yeah, I don't know why that
from,
trailer says
that was
that.
for the PC version, but yeah, it's coming, yeah, soon for console. So yeah, alrighty.
Yeah,
okay,
maybe it might have been delayed. Honestly. I actually think it was delayed.
Okay.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's coming out this week. Yeah. So
yeah.
All right, Burley, you're up next. What do you got?
My pick of the week is Ship of Fools. Ship of Fools is a seafaring rogue light co-op where you play the fools, the only creatures fool enough to brave the sea. The great lighthouse that once protected the archipelago is broken, and a storm of malice and corruption is coming. Together, you and your shipmates will jump aboard the Storm Strider and make your... Sorry about that. I had to just
nice sneeze there, Burley. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ship of sneezes. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yes, ship of sneezes. Together, you and your shipmates will jump aboard the Star Rider and make your voyage across the sea. Man the cannons, ready the sails, and protect your ship from sea monsters over multiple runs. It's up to you to defend your home from the almighty Aqua Apocalypse. It's coming Tuesday, November 22nd to PC, PS4, PS5, Switch, Xbox One, Xbox Series, and maybe your smart fridge. I love the art style for this game.
Well, the art style is very like Angry Birds type of art style when it comes to the characters in it and stuff.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, it's cute. Looks fun.
Yeah. All right. So next up, I've got Zero Sievert is a tense top-down shooter that challenges you to scavenge a procedurally generated wasteland, loot gear, and explore what's left of a devastated world. When the odds are stacked against you, you'll need to do more than just survive. So it comes out in early access for PC on November 22nd, next Tuesday. So yeah, good stuff. Yeah, it kind of reminds me of Hotline Miami meets that one game. Trying to remember the name of it. That's really popular, like in streaming and stuff. Among Us. Yeah, that's
Oh,
yeah. So, what do you guys think of this? Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of elements going on to this that make it look like there's a lot of depth.
Yeah. So Zero Sievert.
Yeah. This one I was actually considering when we were looking through the pick of the week. So I was like, I'm looking through releases, and this one was what I was considering.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Yeah. All right. So Zero Sievert. Okay, so those are our picks of the week. Of course, you can go to releases.com. I will put the link down here below for you. So every week, myself and Burley and Carl, we make our picks of the week from the new games that are coming out. So for the week of November 21st through the 27th. So you can go to releases.com and see all of the new games coming out. All right, so Carl, you're up next. So the second batch of November Game Pass games are out or coming. So what do we have? Yeah?
Game Pass.
We
have already out. We have Pentiment and Somerville.
Yeah.
And then we also have Dune Spice Wars, which is PC only, out as well now. Ghost Lore on PC. And Lapin, that is also out on. That one is on everything. Norco, as well, already out, which says Cloud Console, but also this was already on PC Game Pass. So this is the console version, first coming now. Then we have on November 22nd, Gungrave Gore, day one on Game Pass.
Nice.
This is on all platforms there. Insurgency Sandstorm. This is cloud and console only, November 29th. We have Soccer Story, November 29th. Also day one Game Pass. All three platforms. We have Warhammer 40K Dark Tide on November 30th. PC only, day one Game Pass. Not on Xbox because they delayed that version because they're bastards. That'll come sometime we don't know when next year on Xbox Game Pass.
Yeah, well, they're waiting to get it right for Xbox.
Yeah,
do you want a Pokemon Scarlet and Violet situation on the Xbox version?
Yeah, right. Yeah, okay. And that was it. I also note, I guess Vampire Survivors has a cloud with like touch controls, I believe now as well.
Yeah, I know Insurgency's been out on PC for a while, so it's finally coming to console. I'm looking forward to playing that. So
yeah, I don't know what that is.
It's like Call of Duty basically,
yeah.
But I think you're either in Iraq or Afghanistan. I think it is. So, and I would really like to play Dune Spice Wars on console, but yeah, I want to try that on PC, I guess. So good stuff. All right. Right, so those are our Game Pass games for the second half of November. So go ahead and check those out if you have Game Pass.
And I guess also, Battlefield 2042 is coming to Game Pass. I don't know if they set a date yet. I don't know if that's
it's
because
next week, I think. Yeah, next week.
It's not. Yeah, and it's an EA Play one, but it'll be on Game Pass.
Yeah,
Ultimate, only Game Pass Ultimate.
Yep. Cool. All right, so what are we going to be playing this upcoming week? I'm going to be continuing with God of War Ragnarok, as well as splitting between that and A Plague Tale Requiem. Going to continue with that as well. Burley, I imagine you're going to continue with Pokemon, and hopefully there'll be some new patches.
No, I'm done with the Pokemon franchise forever.
Good for you.
No, I got to play. I bought Violet. I got to play it. So I'll finish it. But trust me, when we do the extra take for this, if the rest of it is bad, I have no problem saying some of the stuff that I said earlier that we need to maybe stop giving Game Freak money.
Well, just make a bug compilation for us, and then we'll do the show and talk about bugs.
Do you want a 3-hour video? I'm sure.
No, just the best 20-minute compilation will do. Yeah.
We'll see. Yeah, some getting footage, but I'll be continuing on with Xenoblade Chronicles 3. I'm on the second to last chapter, and I'm really enjoying that. So I want to keep going through.
Cool. All right. And Carl, I imagine more Persona, and then after that, Plague Tale.
Yeah, well, I think I'm going to run through Pentiment, and then get back to Persona after that, and then cool. Plague Tale. But I won't be getting through that by next week. That's for sure.
Yeah. You'll probably be into that into next year. Yeah. So.
Yeah, Persona. I mean, I did pretty good so far. I got to 50 hours. So I guess am I halfway through? Supposedly, that's what they say. So
yeah, it's easily over 100 hours. So.
It's just like the Kingdom Hearts series. You're just about to get the title screen now.
Yeah.
So
I know people that have played it over 200 hours.
You can. I can see you want to do a second playthrough, New Game Plus or something. Which like Fire Emblem 3 Houses, I put over 100 hours into.
Okay, so to end the show, our indie recording artist spotlight. So this week's spotlight is on Moon. Moon, a.k.a. Sire Tuito, is a composer, arranger, producer, guitarist, and vocalist who, despite his youth, has already lent his talents to a number of high-end productions, such as the highly successful vocal ensemble The Voca People and Singolda and Friends. Moon's exceptional grassroots music features his signature guitar picking and passionate vocal style. From the title song of his album called Bomb, featuring Sapir Cheval. So this has been The Arena, a multi-platform gaming news podcast, episode 112. I've been your host, Expat, along with my co-hosts, Burley of Burleman Gaming and Turn-Based Carl. We hope to catch you in the next one. So take care, everyone. Peace out.
Sure that it'll be easier to clear you from my mind. thing, I'm the flag thing, burning tires to move on. Too many noises, clash of choices, future came and left like ghosts. No more messing, no caressing, heavy panning on the walls. How I did it to myself, craving out hip, practice land, sleeping on my bed is cold inside. You let it burn, spat on a fuse. The table stand, the scrolls were loose. I guess you had lied. I wish you fall off from a window, take a bad trip to the ground. Ooh. And bring a pleasure, see pressure just before you break a bone. I wish you fall off from a window, take a bad trip to the ground. And bring a pleasure, see pressure just before you break a bone. I wish you